Hi everyone, welcome or welcome back. My name is Kim, and in this session we'll be practicing Yin Yoga. We always practice a little bit of Yin in our normal Vinyasa sessions, however, not as much as I think we should in terms of balancing the Yin and Yang. But that is why we have specialized sessions for specifically for Yin, so that we can balance our more masculine, feminine energies. Essentially, Yin Yoga is stretching as opposed to building strength. Yin Yoga works deep within the connective tissues. We hold postures from 1 to 5 to 10 minutes, even sometimes. And it works with the deep connective tissue, which is called fascia, that connects our bones, our ligaments, our muscles all together, and it kind of just like encompasses and cuddles everything, our whole body, so that it's one body. So as we relax and open and heal our body, we're doing pretty much the same with our mind, because one thing, they're all connected, right? What we think, our body manifests, and we can work the other way as well. What we do physically in our bodies, it'll also affect and manifest our mental, our thoughts, our emotions. Props are totally optional. You don't necessarily need props to do the session. However, you may find them helpful. So I'll cue those options throughout the session and show examples and demonstrate as well. The props I'm using in today's session are 2 blocks, standard yoga blocks. You can use pillows, blankets, towels, just anything to really help support lifting you up. And then also have a yoga blanket, standard yoga blanket. And again, you can use a regular blanket, maybe other pillows, just for extra cushioning and again, more elevation. And I'll also be using a strap for some binding. If you don't have a strap, you can use a scarf, a belt, a towel. But again, if you don't have the props, totally cool. You can either modify with other props, or you can use, or you don't have to use them at all. And with all that said, I hope you receive what you need, and let's begin our practice. Toe stand. Come to standing on your knees. Tuck your toes underneath and sit onto your heels. Knees are touching, rest your hands onto your thighs. And if you have sensitive knees, you can place a blanket underneath your knees or a pillow. You can also place a block, maybe even 2 blocks underneath your hips if it feels a lot onto your knees and your toes. But we want to have the toes tucked. Eyes can close, or you can keep your gaze to the tip of your nose if they're open. And tune into your breath in and out through your nose. Take a moment of gratitude. Silently thank yourself for showing up onto your mat, making the choice for your wellness, for your health. Know that it makes a difference in our lives, in the lives around us and beyond. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Take a breath in and exhale. Plant your palms onto your mat. Step your feet back into tabletop. And just tap out the toes. Make sound. And then inhale, cow pose. Drop the belly, send the gaze up. Exhale, cat, round the spine, chin to chest, tailbone down. Breath to movement, inhale, cow pose, stretch the chest, open the throat. Exhale, cat, round, and fully empty the breath. Keep going, your breath, your movement. Maybe add some extra movements in the neck or the hips. You can even flip the wrists if you'd like. Just tuning to your body and what it needs right now with your breath. I always like to get some mobility in the body before we head into the longer holds and deeper stretches. Now pause here. Crawl your fingertips to the top of your mat. Melt your forehead to the earth. This is called heart melting pose. Hips stay over the knees. You can also place a blanket underneath the chest and or the chin. Maybe even a block or a pillow. And if you have a little more space available, lower your chin onto the earth. Find a deeper stretch into the throat, the shoulders. Know that you can always change and get out of the posture. But as best as you can, stay with the breath. As we stay longer, more resilient our bodies, our minds become. With discernment, of course. If there's pain, of course you'd want to back out and change. If any thoughts or noise or distractions come by, that's okay. Just draw your awareness back to the breath. This practice is called dharana, or concentration. It's one of the 8 limbs of yoga. Asana, which is the postures, is the 3rd. It's just one of those limbs. Nice. And take a breath in. And exhale. Gently press your palms. Lift yourself back up into a tabletop. Take one cat-cow just to reset. The space in between the postures is just as important as the postures themselves. Next, we'll take dragon pose. Step your right foot outside of your right palm. Scooch your left knee a little further back. Perhaps you want to use a blanket or pillow underneath your knee. We will be here for a bit. You want to make sure your right ankle's in front of the knee. This will help protect your knee in the long run. You can also use blocks to help you prop. We're finding a deep stretch into the hip flexor, the left hip flexor, maybe the outer right glute. Everyone will experience every posture different. An option to stay upright or option to lower down onto your elbows inside of your right leg. You can use a block for your forearms. You may even find that you don't need the block. And take it one step at a time. Find your first edge where you feel the stretch. And then after a few breaths, after staying, your edge will change. And so just constantly reassess what you need in every moment. So here I find that I can go lower without the block, and now my body was ready for it. Stay with the breath, conscious breathing. Option to capture the dragon's tail, bend the left knee, reach back for your foot. You can also use a strap around your foot here. And then optimize the effort. Only use what you need to keep yourself up and to hold the foot. If you have the foot, gently release your foot. Press up onto your palms. And then lengthen your right leg. Flex the foot, the ankle towards your face. It's a little counter stretch. And then scooch back forward and step your right leg back into tabletop. Nice work. Let's do one round cat-cow. And then switch to the other side. Step your left foot outside of your left palm. Readjust your back leg to stretch. Again, you want to make sure the ankle's in front of the knee to protect the knee. Adjust your props if needed. And stay upright, breathe into your hips. Option for blocks to help support you, staying upright. Smooth breath. Breathe into any discomfort. Again, that's your edge. If there's pain, make any adjustments. An option to stay upright. Option to lower down to your elbows, either onto the earth or on a block. I found on this side that I can go lower on the block. At every breath, notice every breath, every inhale, every exhale, observe. Know that even though we're still, there's change happening. Just by simply being. Change is constant. See where you are now. You may find that you can go lower, go a little deeper with the breath, the awareness. And always staying in gratitude, no matter how far or how deep or not deep we go into the posture. What matters is that you show up and do the work. It's not easy. Option to stay, option to capture the dragon's tail, bend the right leg, reach back for your foot. It's okay if you can't reach your foot, you can just make the shape and still find the stretch and the energy. Release through the hips, using every exhale. Thanking our hips for all they do, supporting us all day. Thank you, hips. Even if they're sore or tight. And gently release your foot if you had it. Lift up onto your palms. And then send your hips back. Lengthen your left leg for that half splits. Flex your foot. And release through the back of your left leg. And then rebend your left knee. Step it back. And find your way back to tabletop. Some gentle movements to reset the spine and the hips. And remove your blanket from underneath the knees. Return back to tabletop. And we'll head into shoelace pose. Lift your right leg and cross it over behind your left knee. Spread your heels wide and sit between your heels. You can always lengthen your bottom leg forward. If you have tight hips, bend both legs. You can sit onto, if you find your hips are particularly tight or your knees, you can sit on a blanket or a block. You can also place a block or blanket between the knees if there's some space. And then lift your right arm up and over your head, bend the elbow, and use your left arm, left hand to pull gently onto your right arm. Stay rooted through your legs and your sit bones. Gently release your left hand and reach behind you for either a half bind, full bind, or you can use strap. Yep. Even if you have the strap, maybe you can walk closer. Eventually, you'll reach your hands together. If you don't have a strap, you can just grab your shirt, use a towel, or take a half bind. This deep stretch into our shoulders and our hips. Try to soften through the face, the jaw, the throat, the eyes. And gently release the bind if you had it. Free your arms and just shake them out. And then fold over the legs. You can use a block for the forehead or your elbows. This will help get deeper into the hips and even low back. Complete the exhales. The exhales are preparation for the inhales. And then inhale, slowly rise back up to seat. Remove any props away. Then extend your right leg forward, left to meet, shake out the legs. Then we cross the legs, roll back into a tabletop. And do the other side. Lift your left leg, cross your left knee behind the right knee, open the feet and sit between the heels. Okay. Set up any props as needed. Always option to extend the bottom leg, left leg. Just keep the top leg crossed. Option to sit on block or blanket or use blanket between the knees. Everybody's different, so read and attune to what you need today. Okay. And then reach your left arm up and over, bend the elbow, and then grab the elbow with your right hand and gently tilt to your right side. Breathe into your left side body. And gently free your right arm and then find bind. You'll notice it'll be different on this side, so maybe you can reach your hands this time. Maybe you need the strap on this side. Or maybe you skip the bind entirely. Again, honor where you are, your different sides. And it's okay to have differences on our sides. It's kind of inevitable, really. Especially if one hand is more dominant than the other, which most of ours are. So that's the beauty of this practice, is it helps us to reflect and study ourselves. The little details, the intricacies, the quirks. It doesn't matter how far or not far you go into a posture. What matters is the awareness, the reflection. That's called svadhyaya. It's one of the niyamas. Again, one of the 8 limbs of yoga. If you have the bind, free yourself of the bind and shake out your arms. And then prepare a block, fold over your legs. Again, you can place your elbows on the block or your forehead. Or you might not even go as deep as I do, of course. You might just tilt a little bit And as long as you feel stretch and sensation, your edge, you're good. Gently rise up. Free your left leg forward and then the right. Shake out the legs. And take Baddha Konasana or butterfly pose. Bend your knees and touch the soles of your feet to touch. You can play around with different angles of your knees depending on your flexibility today. You can sit on a block or a blanket. Then inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale, fold over the legs. I have a block here for my elbows. You can also use it for your forehead, depending on how far or not far you'd like to go. Again, for some of us, you may just need to go a little bit forward, and you'll still feel the sensation in your inner hips, in your groin area. Again, just meeting us where we are today. No judgment or comparison. We're all individuals with individual needs. So who best to meet those needs than ourselves? And it takes awareness and practice, studying ourselves. Just ask your hips permission to open and relax with every exhale. You may even find that you can go a little deeper. Maybe lower your elbows further. And every breath is working into the connective tissue. And gently press yourself up from the posture. Close your knees, rock side to side. And then make your way onto your back. Scoot your hips forward and lay down. Plant your heels onto the earth, hip width distance. And then head into bridge pose, Setu Bandhasana. Lift your hips up towards the sky. For full traditional variation, interlace your fingers for chest expansion underneath you. Shimmy your shoulders, triceps underneath. Use your legs to lift the hips, relax the back, relax the throat, the belly. Soften through the jaw, the tongue. And the chest will move towards the chin and then the chin away from the chest. Maintain space in your throat. Often we tend to contract that area. And it can really affect our ability to express ourselves and be in our truth, authenticity. So keep that space open. Might at least be mindful of that space. Gently release the bind and roll your spine back onto the earth. Knock the knees side to side. Then lift your knees over your hips into a reverse tabletop. Go post your arms to the side and lower your knees over to the left. And then gaze towards the right. Easy twist. If you have tight hips, you can place a block or blanket between the knees. Try to keep both shoulders rooted into the earth. And every exhale, easing into the posture. Gently return the knees back to center. And then lower them over to your right side. Draw your gaze to your left shoulder. Softening through the breath, tapping into the more yin, receptive energy, Let go of effort, of trying, at least for right now. We're most of the time in the yang energy, which is active, doing, going, pursuing. In yin, it really allows us to counter that and find more balance within our own bodies and energy and mind. Gently return the knees back to center. Wrap your arms around the knees. Give yourself a gentle hug. Thank you, thank you. And then release your legs long, arms long, into Shavasana, corpse pose. Make any adjustments to lie comfortably. If you like to use props, set up props. Make your way into stillness. Release the legs, the arms, the hips, the belly, the shoulders, the neck, throat. Release your jaw and your tongue. Release the top of your head. And release your eyes, the backs of your eyes, the space between your eyebrows. Just find stillness, simply noticing your breath as it is right now. Notice the inhale, the exhale, the space between the exhale and inhale. Know that every breath is a miracle. Every breath is not promised. And every breath is temporary. Begin to deepen the breath, awaken your breath body, and awaken your physical body. Wiggle the toes, the fingers. Reach your arms overhead. Remove any props from beneath or over you. Then pull your knees into the chest, roll over to your right side for a fetal position. Sending gratitude and thanks to the earth. Thank you for holding me, supporting me. And maintaining this sense of ease, gently make your way up to a seat. Cross your legs and sit with a tall spine. Connect your hands to your heart center. Again, thanking yourself for showing up, doing the work, and extending this gratitude out to anybody else who's practicing either at this time or at another time, in another place. Thank you. And thank you to all our teachers and their teachers, the lineage of this practice, all that it offers our lives. May the merits of our practice benefit all everywhere. Namaste. Wherever you are, whoever you are, however you are, may you be safe and protected. May you be healthy and strong. May you be happy and peaceful. And may you have all you need and live with ease and loving kindness. May you be well.